All right, so we are going to be showcasing Arthur versus the demonic beast. Now, I usually do this for all of the festivals where I showcase them versus demonic beast to see how well they'll do and if they are worth summoning for. Because again, you don't want to see them just be good in PvP. You want to know how good they are and viable in PvE. So we're gonna be using Arthur. This is gonna be the gear set I'm gonna be using for Arthur for all of them, and we're just gonna be showcasing through all the teams. I don't think I really need to go over the gear set. Do I have to really go over the gear sets of these teams? So usually it's always you're using like attack crits on everybody. Like I'm using attack crit on this Escanor right now, Vaughn, and Roxy. That's usually gonna be my majority of my team. So I don't even think I'm gonna go over gear sets. It's kind of like you should know. And then you got the artifact card set, this one. All right, so like usual, I showcase pretty much the gameplay with all of the demonic beasts. Now I might turn off the game audio because I think I sped it up while I had my background music playing. So that's gonna sound like pretty much sound pretty annoying. So I'm probably just going to get rid of the whole game audio in general and just play my other background music. But this is going to be the Arthur team versus the bird. Now, if you've seen my recent video where I talk about speed farming the demonic beast, you're going to know that I had the human team featuring Rudius instead. But since Arthur came out, he is now going to be replacing Rudius. Because I know a lot of people ask me, yo, who could I replace if I don't have Rudius? So Arthur is going to be that character for you if you want to speed farm. And again, you're just clicking on cards for the most part, just getting mad crits. Usually you're able to get through most of the content. Now again, this is the hardest one being the phase 4 because he has so much defense. Usually Escanor card or Arthur card is really good. Arthur usually hits cap damage, like 156k, that's cap. So if you save up a bronze Arthur card while you still have that gray buff, you should be good. But again, as long as you crit, you're going to get that crazy Roxy explode damage. That's why people use like this full human team. Don't really need Miguel or anything like that. Just a full human team. You're able to pretty much wipe the bird super fast. I think I did this in like 8 minutes. Because usually I upload the speed in like ×2. So you should be able to pretty much clear this pretty fast. 8 to 10 minutes is usually a really good threshold for clearing content for the demonic beast. Because again, you just want your relics as much as possible just so you can get higher box EC or maybe a character that you might need. Like I know this recent update gave us a holy relic for Zenari, who is bird. So that's gonna be really cool. I don't know if the demonic beast ×2 event is still going on right now though, which is kind of weird that if they did take that away, because it would have been nice to have that paired alongside of the Arthur festival, just so you have something to do. Because right now at the moment, I ain't gonna lie to you, there's no story chapters, so it's just Arthur the character himself. So this is gonna be probably the most content you're gonna really get that is actually new, because right now they're gonna probably just spam rerun events that you've probably seen a million times if you've been playing this game for a while. And then you also have probably, I'll say maybe what's the next month, you're probably going to get maybe the new demonic beast. So hopefully a new Ragnarok chapter comes out. But the way seeing how there's no story chapter for grandcross right now for the SDS story, I feel like this is going to be like one of those 600 banners where they don't have a Ragnarok story. And we are still missing catastrophe story as well too. They really trying to prep that 4 Nights of Apocalypse story, huh? Yo, that 4 Nights of Apocalypse better be god tier amazing, bro. Where you're kind of delaying 3 stories that you guys made for Grand Cross. You have Ragnarok story, you have catastrophe story, you have the SDS story. All 3 getting delayed for 4 Nights of Apocalypse. So I'm hoping that it's really, really good for them to delay again 3 main stories that they have already set in the game for 4 Nights of Apocalypse. Because this, we don't even know if, even if SDS story ends, does that mean that they're gonna focus more on Four Knights Apocalypse? Does that mean they're gonna focus more on finishing the Ragnarok and Catastrophe story that they already started? Will we still get more chapters and like that, or will it still continue to be a delayed? But that's gonna be this one. I guess I'm gonna probably go for my deer one as well. Now this is one featuring like Rudius, and that's because I kind of forgot what is a red character that is also a DPS that can also crits. I guess you can say maybe Reinhardt, but Reinhardt is a character who focuses mostly on HP, which I guess Arctic does give like 15% base stats, but I don't think that's enough for Reinhardt to pretty much pop off. So that's why I just put Rudius in the slot, just because I think Rudius is a good red DPS character for humans. Again, you want to pair alongside Arthur with humans, so you get that 5% base stat boosting per human that's on the field. And again, Arthur is really good at doing damage, so he is a really good DPS. And the crazy thing is, he also has a taunt as well once he gets those 4 stacks. And once you get that 4 stacks of what I think is called Chaos Domination going, he's probably like a really good free to play character as well too, because like having so much of a taunt character be the main priority target character, it's just really fun, and allows you to kind of not worry about if your early characters are going to be gone, because obviously you want Arth to be really built. You want him really built just so you're able to tanks most of the hits. Now, you can probably put it like Red Tarmiel if you feel like Arthur's going to be getting nuked a lot. But for the most part, I didn't really use Red Tarmiel Link on this guy, especially for these older demonic beasts. I think Deer probably was like one of them where I struggled a little bit at the end, just because I forget that with the Deer, the main issue that a lot of people have is that color wheel. So having to deal with that color wheel is just annoying. That's why I say it probably doesn't matter what red character you put in that slot for Rudius. For all I know, you can probably put somebody else instead that's a red character. And who's another good red festival? Deanne, maybe? I don't know. But you can just put another red character on that slot if you don't want to use Rudius. Like, you don't have to get that 15% base stats for it, Arthur, right? You can always just use, I don't know, 10%. But I just like using Rudius as well, because you also get that Roxy explode damage if you crit with a single target. Again, it's just one of those things where you trying to like use what you can. So we just go for that. I wasn't really like focused mostly on what's the best thing and stuff like that. I was just going with my team. I was just clicking cards for the most part, just to get it over with, just to see how well this team is by going fast. Again, I feel like Deer is just still always slow to me, just because that color wheel, having to actually think when you pledging your cards. I know it's crazy to say, like, yo, you having to actually think. Now that I think about it, doesn't that mean like the next UR is going to be most likely a red UR? Because if Arthur is green UR, DK Melios was blue, doesn't that mean the next one going to be like red UR? Who would that be? That's interesting. That's a good question. Would they go with another 7 Deadly Sins UR for the red? Or would they go for the Ragnarok play and make a Ragnarok character red and make them UR? I don't know. I kind of like that it's on Sins, not 7 Deadly Sins characters right now, just because at least you have more value in the character, because now it's characters that people actually care about, that are getting the best update possible. It's not too many really people care if like UR, like you get like a UR, I don't know, UR tier or something like that, you know? Just for example, a UR tier. You're like, what? Who's this tier person? Who's this UR hell? I know they have higher rarity, but who are these people? So you kind of already like are excited once you know the backstory of Arthur. But for some of these characters, in terms of original characters, you don't really know the backstory to them. So you really don't have too much investment in that character, if that makes sense. Again, I'm not really talking about the content for these older beasts, just because I think you already get the gist of it. It's just pretty much you just blasting characters. As long as the game keep progressing with newer characters, the older demonic beasts are going to get easier and easier by time, because then you can just fill up the older slots with newer characters. Like I remember people use like blue Escanor because they have no blue characters for humans. Now it's blue Awakened Roxy. I've seen people had like before Green Arthur, the old one, because they didn't have no green slot for humans. So now you have this Arthur, and so forth and so forth on. You know, again, it's just pretty much progression in terms of the characters, because obviously they want to keep this content going, no matter how old it may be. Because again, you can't overwork those 3 devs. You know, so adding newer demonic beasts or newer content, or even a new change in terms of the rules of the older demonic beasts, is just going to be a hassle for them, especially if they don't know, because they don't want to make it too easy, or now they don't want to make it too hard. And sometimes they do that with like the labyrinth a little bit, where they make it either hard for depending on your box account and stuff like that, and then sometimes they make it like super easy, where you're just one blasting everybody. And again, with this, you just want to try to make sure you have the 4 colors for the last one, because you know you got the damage cap and all the shenanigans you got to go through. I could have just used my ultimates for this one with anybody like Rudy's or anybody, but again, it's just that the characters are so powerful that it doesn't even matter if I waste the ultimate right there. So we're going to try to one-shot him. I started off with Jormungandr card just so I can get a little bit of chip off, and then I'll be able to rank up as well my cards. Rudy is going to do a lot of damage regardless. Boosh. Look at that. Look at that damage. And then boom. GG. Easy clap. All right, so now we got human team on the dogs. Now, I think this is probably one of the other ones that I feel like Arthur is probably the best ones for, and that is the dogs. Like, if you've seen before, the human team on dogs are just cracked because it is featured in Thonar as the booster character. So now you kind of incentivize to use humans if needed so. Again, I like to use Light Escanor for this just because you have that double death damage. But again, you can always just use what's that man named? Green Escanor. He's pretty cool. I just gotta like Escanor because he also has that AoE ultimate, which could be very beneficial for the last phases for each stage, because again, you can face off against both of the dogs. So again, we just pretty much just spamming our cards. And again, it's cool that Arthur is able to crit. So it allows her to keep getting that proc with our Roxy explosive damage. And again, we're just gonna ult right here. Finish him off. One shot. Pretty easy. Again, I feel like this is gonna be probably the best team for humans at the moment. What you see, like obviously people have Albedo, which Albedo hits pretty hard because you got the counter stance. But this is for people who probably skipped Albedo or just didn't play it during that time. So now you're able to actually have a solid team on farming the dogs. But then again, I don't really be thinking that the dogs was ever hard. Like, if you see my content before, I used to just meme on the dogs using fun teams. I used to have like where I would just play around with abyss damage characters like Rimuru and stuff like that, and just nuke each phase and stuff like that. Kind of just making like speed runs on the dogs. That's why I said, like, the dog's never been that hard for me technically. I guess so at first launch, the dogs is hard, which is normal. But as the game progressed, you started to realize, okay, the dogs are almost as easy as the bird, right? Especially if you have the characters. Obviously, it's kind of a stretch saying the bird when the deer exists, but I don't know. I just feel like the deer is just a lot more of a headache to play against, just because again you do have to deal with the damage cap, you have to deal with the full heal, and then you have to deal with the color wheel. Color wheel being the more egregious one, to say the least. I just realized freaking Roxy did less damage than Thonar. That's kind of crazy. And yeah, you're gone. But I guess we have to see. Like right now, it's like 4:30 in the morning. Like people always ask me, like, "Yo, really, how do you make these bad plays while you playing PvP or playing PVE activity during the update?" I'm like, bro, I live in America, okay? It's 4:30 when I record for the update. Actually, it's way earlier than that because the update ends at 1 a.m. for me. At like every Wednesday/Thursday. If this was global, I think on global, if I was a global player, the update would probably would end at like 10 p.m. I think for me. Even then, that's also pretty late, especially when you're a person who actually have a job. So like grandcross isn't like my main revenue. It's just a hobby, something fun to do. Also, I find it kind of weird that Arthur pretty much, like Arthur, his whole thing is that he can cleanse 2 debuffs, which is crazy. Like, why was it just like 2 freaking debuffs? Why couldn't it just be the whole thing like DK Beliotis? Like, that's so freaking weird. I think I was trying to see if I can like get the boost in. I think I should just move my cards and not worry about using Thonar card. But again, this is gonna be in the video, and not end of the dog one, anyways. It's luckily me that the taunt went to Arthur, which Arthur already had a taunt on him, so he was already my best character to have the taunt. So yeah, the dogs absolutely got destroyed. All right, so the more important one, which is Nidhogg, and we have Arthur with Yuri, Light Escanor, and Liz. Now again, same thing. I just like using Light Escanor, especially because of his death damage. He also is a really good DPS for the most part. He's just so good in PvE. Light Escanor is just not the greatest because Light Escanor, that's a Light Escanor. LR Escanor is not the greatest because you are forced to use full humans. But with Light Escanor, at least you can use anything. So we're using Yuri plus Arthur. And again, with Yuri plus Arthur, you gotta remember, for every human, you get like 5% base stats for both of those characters. So right now I'm getting like 30% base stats for my humans, which is really, really good. So we are just going to be just blasted through everything. Now you might be asking yourself, yo, really, why are you using Yuri on this team? And that's because Yuri also can clear stances, which you got to remember, guys. You have to have a clear stance character if you want to play Nidhogg. So unless you can tell me another human character who can clear stances with a bronze card, we're going to use Yuri, unfortunately. Because I don't think there's anyone that can does it. I was kind of surprised Arthur doesn't clear stance. Just because the trend has been characters who can clear stance. Like you had Queen Elizabeth clear stance, DK Meliodas clear stances, but Arthur really doesn't clear stances, which is a little bit weird. It would have been nice though, because then I could at least use another character other than Yuri. You're literally kind of just forced to use Yuri if you're trying to use a full 3-man human team technically. Or two men and 1 woman. All right, so you got Arthur blasting the Nidhogg. And again, you have Elizabeth because she's like god tier and demonic beast, especially Nidhogg. So she's gonna be your pretty much your healer. Again, I was thinking to myself maybe I should use Brunhild, but I'm not gonna lie to you. Did I just thought to myself, I was like, Marilli, would you want to suffer using Brunhild rather than using just a like the new LR Elizabeth, who's literally made for the demonic beast? And after that, I came to the decision. I said, "You're right, Marilli. Just use Elizabeth." Maybe if it was a person who really wants to showcase a full human team, could use Green Brunhild. But honestly, for me, I just use Elizabeth and call it a day. Again, I just didn't really feel like again, I just didn't really feel like suffering. I just wanted to get through this Nidhogg video as quickly as possible. Because again, if you use Brunhild, then you're obviously gonna get a additional 5% base stats, or technically 10% base stats for your humans. The only issue is that what I saw was like, Elizabeth gives you HP relay stash. She can cleanse, and then she can heal and also give you attack boost as well. While Brunhild, all she's going to give you is, again, you're just going to have an extra human to get that base stats and a heal if you ever get that ultimate. Which, again, you don't know if you're going to get the ultimate consistently. Because the main boosters for demonic beasts are all goddesses, especially this one. So that's why I just use Elizabeth instead. So we just use Escanor ult. The only reason why I did that is because I didn't have a clear stance card, and you can see why this is why I say you need a clear stance character, because again, there's so many moments where you need a character who can clear stance, and unfortunately Arthur cannot clear stance, but Yuri can on bronze, which is beautiful. Okay, and we're doing really good damage to the Nidhogg. And again, Arthur is like super good at tanking. I can't lie to you, man, bro. Like the fact that Arthur is like forced to get hit is so beautiful, because then it just leaves so many moments where you don't have to worry about your other weaker character dying. You can run attack crits on your characters and stuff like that. So it's really, really fun to have Arthur on the field, because that forced taunt is just so beautiful. I think Arthur for like PVE is gonna be a really good character if you face like more of PVE characters who have single targets. They don't have AoEs or hit harder on AoEs. Arthur is definitely gonna be a really solid character for PVE. But I guess the catch is that you have to use humans with Arthur to stack up his chaos, to then get his chaos domination. I guess that's literally the only catch with Arthur at the moment. But again, it's just like, it should be fine. And I guess you can have Escanor. Yeah. Just for the extra damage. Because you have to have a healer if you're going to rock full humans. Because I was thinking to myself, like, maybe Blue Roxy, but nah, again, you need something. Especially because you don't want to rely too much on RNG with Yuri. Or with a human character like Brunhild. So we got Escanor. We're just stacking our hits. The thing is with this team is that, again, it takes a long time because you're using Yuri. Unfortunately, Yuri is not a really good damage dealer or support for this. All she's just here for is her stance removal and basic stat boosting. Like, the damage reduction is nice. Like, it's the 30% damage reduction, but it doesn't really mean too much to me. Maybe so for some people it might be like super beneficial. For me, like, I just want damage when it comes to the Nidhogg. because it takes so long to play against it. So me, I just like having that damage, if anything. So we're gonna try to stack up to 3 ultimates. Again, 3 ultimates are gonna be the best thing for you, because then it'll allow you to clear it pretty fast. Because again, you gotta remember, they buffed it so for each ultimate it's going to be 33%. So if you use 3 ultimates, you're then able to go to 0%. So you never really need to hold for gold cards like before. I remember before where you had to just hold for gold cards, like a Pierce gold card, to be able to beat Nidhogg. Now it's just you need your ultimates, and then you're able to do it. Some teams, like the Mile team, is able to clear it in 1 phase. I think like 1 or 2 phase. And again, we got another clear stance card, which is gonna be beneficial. And we're gonna have Arthur pretty much do damage. So we go for the boost. Arthur hitting like a truck, or a decent enough truck where we doing decent amount of damage. And I didn't really mention this, but the one cool thing I like about Arthur is that on his ultimate, I didn't realize this when I was playing this, but on his ultimate, Arthur, he gives you a 20% all stat boost to all of your characters. I thought it was just for one guy. I thought it was just for him. No, it's for like your entire team, which is actually insane. So you're gonna see right here, all my characters are gonna have that buff, that chaos buff. No matter what race they are, they get that chaos buff, which is actually really cool. I was just debating if I should really attack or not. I feel like I should have just attacked just so I can get off some damage. Like I should have just ulted right here, because Arthur technically would have just tanked it, because he is super tanky, especially because he got that 20% all stat buff. And now because I don't have a clear stance, I'm gonna try to see if I could kill right here. But I forgot that with the damage cap, you literally can't do no damage. See, little watch, I'm gonna do 90k, pretty much doing nothing. So I have to reset, and we just gotta hope that next phase we live the hit. So we kind of like testing Arthur tankiness right now. And you see Arthur, it tanked all of that damage, which means Arthur has a whole bunch of HP right now. So we're just gonna ult. So we get another all stat boost. And again, we're just gonna test if Arthur can tank. And as you can see, Arthur is tanking like a pro. And the good thing about this is that we did get a clear stance card. So now we can just ult. And I think I was debating if I should ult. Yeah. We're just gonna ult. Finish you off. I just realized that man was gone. It was still saying like 7%. I won't question it. I don't remember all the buffs that they gave us for the Nidhogg. So we just go for the Arthur buff then. Stacking up that chaos. Arthur really doesn't do that much damage though on this. Even with all the, like, he doesn't really do that much damage as like I thought he would. Even if he has like a whole bunch of HP. Which is kind of unfortunate. I thought this man be like a god tier DPS for this. Like you see, I did like 1 million with the all stat boost. And I think I'm about to check my HP on this as well, just to see how high it can be. Because his stuff is like based on like max HP, right? So he has 828. He has 800,000 HP. That man gained a 500,000 HP boost with the all creations in his own passive. I think Does Liz boost max HP as well? HP as well? I forget. That's what I say. Like with me, like I always forget sometimes what these characters do. We were thinking like, does she boost? And I guess we can go for this. Again, I don't really care just because Arthur is taunted. So this is gonna be the part where I just gonna cleanse regardless right here. Alright, and we're just gonna do mega damage. Alright, see ya. And we're almost down to the last threshold. Again, Arthur God tier tank right now. Tanking through everything. Let's see what we can do. Oh my god, look at that damage. The damage is too good. It's a good thing we got another clear stance card. Like, you really want those clear stance cards. But yeah, this is going to be the end of the video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video of me using Arthur against the demonic beast. And yeah, he is pretty good, which is really nice. This really guys, I'm out. Peace.